I don't think we around here have done a very good job of talking about these gambling stories involving Jonte Porter or more recently Terry Rozier when he was in Charlotte. You can listen to the podcast of Pat Forde, College Football Inquirer. He does it with Dan Wetzel and Ross Dellinger, but he's also a senior writer for Sports Illustrated, and he just reported with Michael Rosenberg the latest news inside a gambling ring that will look to me from where I'm standing. This could be a monster story here, and it seems like it's becoming something that will become larger in days and weeks. But Pat joins us now with some of his fresher reporting. And Pat, why is it that people aren't paying attention to some of the things you're paying attention to here that has, federal and NCAA authorities investigating something in a way that feels like a more relevant investigation than the average NCAA investigation, which can be pretty useless? And thank you for joining us, by the way.
Yeah, hey, happy to be with you. And this is an interesting one that could get significantly more interesting. I agree. Why aren't people paying as much attention? Well, for one thing, Jonte Porter, first of all, is a bit player in the NBA who's been banned, so he's past tense. Terry Rozier has kept playing, to the surprise of some, but there's an investigation underway there into one game in particular when he was at Charlotte. The college stuff is generally speaking with lower level schools that are under investigation. And I think it's easy for people to tune out what may be happening at Eastern Michigan or North Carolina A&T or Mississippi Valley State or even Temple and some others. So, I think it's one of those the more this kind of succeeds upon itself and builds upon itself, the more people are going to be forced to pay attention. We're coming up to March, Dan, when people really start to lock in on college basketball. And I think there's going to be reason to worry and wonder how many schools have gambling problems.
All right, Pat, let's talk about this, though, because I do believe that these uneasy tensions between so much of the gambling money being responsible for floating what's happening in sports right now, and you can get in bed with lower level schools and make yourself money in a way that really threatens the integrity of what it is that we're watching. So just take us through some of your humanizing investigation of the characters involved here, because you're doing reporting here and you're meeting basically these gambling characters that, of course, are going to be kind of from the underworld and know how to get in bed with, kids who want to make a few extra $1,000.
Yeah, not exactly choir boys involved in this, as you would not be surprised to find out. The two characters that we honed in on the story, one's named Shane Hennon, a gambler who was arrested at the Las Vegas airport last month as he was attempting to go to Colombia on a one-way ticket. He has been linked to the Porter gambling ring. And then another guy named Marvis Fairley from Mississippi, his name has not come out publicly, but he has been described by Shane Hennon himself as my partner. And both these guys have gambling tout services. They also have lengthy criminal records. Shane Hennon has been involved with cocaine trafficking, an assault, violations of parole, and then again was just arrested last month. Marvis Fairley was up on a murder rap, which he did not get convicted or do time for, but has had several brushes with the law himself. And as you alluded to, the schools that we're talking about here, first of all, yeah, there's not a lot of players that are flush with NIL money. There's not a lot of guys that have NBA futures that they need to protect. So could they be more vulnerable to being compromised? Yes, they could. The other thing, these are largely bad teams at lower levels. The University of New Orleans came out today from Jeff Goodman that 4 of their top 5 scorers have not played since January during a gambling investigation. Does anybody notice if New Orleans has a gambling problem, if their players are sitting out, if Eastern Michigan does, if Mississippi Valley does? These are the worst programs, generally speaking, in Division I, and there's just not a lot of attention being paid to what's happening there.
So how are people, investigators, finding out about this? Like you mentioned, there are a lot of small, bad teams. How are you, catching wind of this as a reporter?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jessica, and really it comes back to the gambling watchdogs that we have in place now to monitor legal wagering are much more attuned to who's doing the betting, where, and how. And so this goes back, the Porter stuff that was discovered in and of itself, but the Temple thing in particular. There was a game March 7th last year against UAB where the first half line shot out of the stratosphere, and so all of a sudden it's like, what's going on there? And people notice, and they may be able to track who is betting and where. And I think some of this stuff originates with offshore wagering and offshore books that are kind of saying, wait a minute, something's not right here. And they will alert integrity monitors. And then those people will start watching. And when you had the Temple UAB game last year, all of a sudden they're putting out an alert nationwide to regulators saying, take the game off your books. And so then you start there, and it's just kind of peeling back layers of an onion. One thing leads to another, leads to another.
What are the dumbest things you uncovered?
Well, I would say the most unusual, not bets that have actually been tied to game fixing, but Shane Hennon bet a first half line on a Big South Conference quarterfinal between Longwood and Campbell. Why would you do that unless you thought you had a pretty good amount of insight on that? He bet $300,000 on an ACC tournament game. That's a lot of money. Now it's a high profile game, but $300,000. I talked to some bookmakers who said we wouldn't even take a bet that big.
The reason I bring it up is because you've got something that is truly amateur. That is like many of these point fixing scandals in the history of sports, at the very least, do us the courtesy of having criminals who have some sort of ability to conceal these things. What you're talking about here could potentially become a seismic gambling sports scandal that starts with real stupidity.
Yeah, it starts with greed or recklessness or whatever. I mean, we are dealing with, and I've talked to people when we were, going through the reporting of this. It's like, what kind of people are doing this? So like gambling addicts, adrenaline addicts, people who can't keep quiet, people who can't, get a big score and then keep it to themselves. They got to brag about it. And so that just breeds a recklessness that I think maybe got emboldened. And especially if you were having success doing this offshore and maybe your conduit offshore was cut off and you had to then go to North American bookmakers, well, there's a little more regulation there, a little more oversight. You may just overstep your bounds. So we're not talking about people who are necessarily the most disciplined, buttoned down, nefarious gamblers.
So part of your article also talked about how Shane would go and hustle people in private poker games and decided to tell them he was his brother for some reason, which seems like best case scenario. They find out that you're cheating them, and then they come after your brother instead of you. What is the thinking in that?
Good question there. That's been alleged by people in the poker world that Shane Hennon was a card cheat. He and some of the other guys actually who have been arrested in the Porter gambling ring. I did have somebody say to me that Shane Hennon's fairly fortunate to kind of to still be in one piece. If what has been alleged about him is true, if you've been a cocaine dealer and you've been a card cheat and you may be trying to work the margins on game fixing, you're gambling or you're dabbling in a lot of risky behaviors, I guess you would say. But the poker world, which there is a poker world, I'm not familiar with it, but there is a poker world out there, and they're all like, oh yeah, that guy, I'm not surprised he's involved. Same with this guy, Bruce Pham, who was in the Jonte Porter case.
Forgive me, I wasn't listening to anything you said because throughout your answer, Jessica and Billy were taunting me because they got you to say good question, and none of my questions have been any good.
Why don't
you keep asking, and you'll get to a good one.
Yeah, this is a big moment here, Dan. Let's go. Let's hear a good one.
Yeah, but now he knows, so he's just going to say good question.
Well, let's see.
Don't give it away, Pat.
We'll find out together here. Your best guess based on the reporting, this mushroom clouds into what kind of scandal?
That is an excellent question.
Oh, come on, Pat. Just give it out. Come on. Give it out.
Excellent.
I'm here to make friends with everybody.
Not Hennon.
Yeah, no.
And not his friend who you just outed either, his partner. You outed his partner, and he didn't have anything he wasn't even in this paperwork.
I think that there potentially is more at the NBA level. I think that's being looked at. I am sure there is more at the college level that's being looked at. How big does this get? I can't tell you. You know, are we going to have 50 schools under investigation? Probably not. One thing that's interesting here, I mean, I've heard names of a half dozen other schools, most of them on the lower levels. There's a lot of eligibility cases where if it's just players who are gambling, the NCAA doesn't even release eligibility rulings. So there might have been guys that sat out 6 games, 12 games, a whole season that nobody knows why for sure. So it's kind of going to be hard, I think, to quantify this. But I also talked with a gambling expert just before the show here who said it's inevitable that this gets to the Kansas-Kentucky stage. Now, I'm not saying specifically Kansas, Kentucky, but that big name programs could eventually get exposed for having gambling issues.
So if something like that were to happen and then a player would go into the pros and it would be revealed that they were part of something like this, is there like recourse the NBA can have on suspending a player for this type of behavior too?
I don't know. I'm not sure what the you know, like the retroactive situation could be, but I think the NBA has gotten a little bit of a black eye over this between Porter and at least the Rozier investigation, even if that has not yet yielded anything. That I think they'd be pretty hypersensitive to having players that in any way fixed a game or through their own personal props or anything like that. Just it's not the kind of thing you want to have associated with your league, that's for sure.
Rozier is shooting 30% from 3, worst among point guards. He's presently and actively throwing games.
Well, they finally put him on the bench, so he can't do that.
What
anymore.
will you explain to me the Rozier situation? You were skeptical of why he's still playing. What's fair there?
Well, I mean, that is probably fair, and that's probably been the decision they've reached of just that. Unless we have something tangible to go on, we're not going to sit him down. I guess the one thing I would like to hear from him and or his attorney is, hell no, I didn't do it. I really haven't heard that from them.
But in the absence of that, when you have the credibility of these reports, Pat, in the absence of a denial, what legally is making it so that he can still be out there when this happened to Porter and the evidence was very swiftly determined this is a person who needs to be banned from our league? Those are two very different reactions to similar reports.
They are, absolutely. And so the original report, this was a game in March 23rd, 2023, and the NBA says it looked into it and found no wrongdoing. Now, that clearly was not good enough for the feds. Eastern District of New York is investigating and has told the NBA that. So, was there something there that the NBA was able to, in good conscience, say, no, we don't think so? And then the Heat and Terry Rozier and everybody else involved could say, look, we've got a good explanation for this. I need to be able to keep playing. But clearly that needs to be explained to the federal investigators as well.
Last question, and thank you for the time. It used to me, mean something if there was a dual federal and NCAA investigation. But that wiretapping of college coaches before NIL became a thing was such a lukewarm disaster that I feel like the investigators had less credibility than the people inside of the business doing what was allegedly dirty. So when you tell me Sports Illustrated is reporting that federal and NCAA authorities are investigating a gambling ring, that used to be a seismic story. It does not feel like a seismic story today. It feels like you're reporting on something that I think is interesting, that should be more seismic, but it's not. So my question to you is, why? Like, this is the beginning of this, Pat. We are in a lawless phase where, of course, if you invite all of this stuff to sports and all of the gambling walls fall, of course, there's going to be this all over the place with competitionaholics and with addicts.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, I can't tell you that this is going to be Watergate. And I think your skepticism of both the NCAA and the feds when it comes to college basketball is well warranted, because it became an absolute farce. The investigation back in 2017, 18, whatever it was. Is this going to yield a lot? I don't know. There's been some speculation, and I can't tell you whether it's completely accurate or not, but that if the feds have a choice of expending their efforts on NBA players or a guy at North Carolina A&T, they're not going to care that much about the college end of this. And maybe this fizzles out, but I do know the NCAA is certainly actively looking into things. And again, we're seeing players at a lot of different places who are suddenly not playing. Fresno State just benched 2 guys over the weekend and had a third who hadn't played since January. Again, the New Orleans thing I mentioned, North Carolina A&T's had 2 players that have stopped playing. So it's affecting a lot of places right now. Is it going to lead to a mushroom cloud, as you said? I don't know. Maybe at least just a good smoke cloud.
Can you guys tell me what that distracting color is behind Pat? How would you describe that color?
It's a delightful red.
I think it's like a garnet.
Is it? What is it? Is
Ruby?
Is it crimson? Ruby's good?
I like ruby. I would go with ruby. I think so. My shirt kind of almost matches, like the red.
No, it does not.
It actually matches the undershirt. Did you do that on purpose?
It does match the undershirt.
I wake up every day planning how I'm going to look on the Dan Lebitard
There we
show.
go.
All right, there it is. Red wine, a little red wine.
Cabernet.
Oh, it does look like a
Cabernet is
yes.
good.
Burgundy, right?
Good.
No, it's not
Clearly
that.
not burgundy.
That's
It's
actually
too
how
dark.
I wake up, so don't make too much fun.
Good seeing you, Pat. Thank you for the information, sir.
All right. Thank you.
This episode of the Dan Lebitard Show with Stugatz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We have some anarchists among our production team. We have some anarchists all around the building. I believe Taylor is one of them. I don't know if Taylor is trying to keep his employment by making purposefully bad things, but he seems to make some purposefully bad things and delight in the making of bad things that's a way to career advancement. So we put him in charge of Boldest Take. And I got to tell you, this used to be a cherished terrain for us. I will tell you that Billy and Chris, even before Billy and Chris were on this show, we trained our audience to be creative competitively at Funny. And the remnants of that audience that now call this take line insults me, insults the history of this show, insults everything we've made around here for 20 years, because some people just call the take line and just start talking to a friend like for 5 minutes, just yammering. And it's not a take. It's not funny. It's not people trying to be creative. It's just people calling and leaving voicemails in a way that hasn't had a lot of creativity in it.
But those don't make air. Those just Taylor has to listen to those. Yeah. So that's okay.
This is the best of what we've got. This is the refined version of Taylor taking the very best calls, editing them down to their distilled best, and they're not good enough.
I would also tell you that I've gotten this from Taylor. If you're calling and he sees, because he can see the length of these files before he listens, if he sees that it is more than like 2 minutes, he's not listening to it at all. So you're just wasting your time and not even anyone else's, just yours, because it's not getting listened to.
I was going to say like 45 seconds. 2 minutes is generous.
Well, some of them are like 5-minute songs. Like, nope.
I meet people all the time who have been listening to our show for 20 years, and those people know how embarrassing it is that this creative community that used to compete to be funny has shriveled down to Taylor can't take more than 2 minutes of what you're doing on the other line. 305-486-GOTS is the number. We've got a purchased phone line. GOTZ is the number. We went out and got a phone and a line so that you can do this.
The Boost Mobile Boldest Take from the week is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country. This is very exciting, Dan. We got 90 seconds here, the best of the best.
Of the last 10 days or so.
That's right.
Of our creative community shriveled down to this.
That's right.
I think the way we demonized the chef in Ratatouille seemed a little bit too much. I also would not be eating food from a rat. How good would the food have to be if the entire kitchen were rats?
What is the obsession of America with bagels? Bagels, overrated.
Yeah, this is Brian out of Columbus. I got a hot take for you. Every Bob Seger song is 1 minute too long.
Yo, it's your boy P representing Southwest Florida. My bold take is any candy with the word candy in it is trash. Cotton candy, candy corn, candy cans.
Hey Dan, Mike in Arlington, Virginia calling. My bold take is that restaurants should not have menus. So instead they just make 1 or 2 dishes for whatever meal it is, and then you sit down and the waiter tells you what you're having. You know, they can even post it online what they're making that day, so you know not to go if you don't want what they're making. It's kind of a plato del dia situation, but all they have is el plato del dia.
This is Jack on a mobile in California. My hot take is that the Monstars would have beaten Michael Jordan in Space Jam if they had any kind of good roster makeup. Okay, they had Larry Johnson, they had Charles Barkley, Sean Bradley, and Muggsy Bogues, and Patrick Ewing.
He's right
They
about
have
that.
no one who can guard Michael Jordan at the point of attack.
He's right
They
about
have all
that.
these bigs just waiting in the paint for him to get dunked on.
Yeah.
This is Space Jam.
Yeah.
He could dunk from half court.
Yeah.
If they had picked Scottie Pippen over Larry Johnson, Monstars win that game.
Hey, the listeners brought it.
brought
that
it.
was pretty good. Some bold takes there. Every Bob Seger song, 1 minute too long. Is that true?
Bagels overrated. I was also told that people just didn't know where to put them, so there were an assortment of Michael Doliak songs. Have you heard anything about this? Because Taylor's telling me he's got Michael Doliak songs.
What is this music bed we chose?
A wonderful one. It makes the entirety of the segment.
It's hold music.
He
right?
said any candy with the word candy in it is trash. Candy corn, candy cane. I think he said one more, but I can't remember it.
Candy
Cotton
apple?
candy.
Cotton candy. All like he's spot on.
Bagel take. Playfully anti-Semitic, right?
Whoa.
Who says bagels are overrated? Who does
It's
that?
a terrible take.
anti-Semite.
Bagels are
That's
delicious.
I got a great bagel story. Dan Marley told me this story. When he was playing for the Suns when he was a rookie, they used to practice at the JCC in Phoenix because they didn't have a practice facility back then. And every day they would set out bagels for them after practice. And I think it was Tim Perry was his teammate. But anyway, he's sitting at the lockers. And they're saying, hey, how's training camp going? Like, not bad. And Tim Perry says, some hard-ass donuts, though.
Jessica, what happened to you there? Were you just the casual way? Strolled right back in, grabs the show, and then tells an uninteresting story. Is that what you?
No, the punchline was a good payoff, but he did seem like he was petering out
He
while
just,
telling it.
just forgot who he was talking about and
Reared
casually-
Peter in the middle.
It doesn't usually happen, but he comes in and out as he pleases. Let's get back to something that I wanted
It was
to
funny
do.
though.
Because they were
it was a
bagels,
bagel, yeah.
not donuts. But he thought, and it was harder because it's different consistency.
I'm not saying it's not a worthy story. I'm saying he walked in kind of casually. I don't know whether we were interrupting whatever he was doing with Oddball, and he's like, I got it. Everybody stand back. And here, donuts, they're hard. When they're hard, they're bagels. Hey.
That's
I
not
wanted
the
to make
joke.
my Monstar Jerry Krause joke, but then you.
Another great take by a listener.
That was a good take.
At the end of the
actually.
day, when Amin wants the ball, you give him the ball.
305-486-GOTZ is that telephone number. Do better. Some scouts and some spies have sent me a video of my friend Michael K. from New York. I don't know if you guys have ever been surprised by one of your friends how well they dance, but sometimes I get surprised by my friends. So just put that in the lower right-hand corner, please, of somebody who just sent me a video of Michael K. dancing, because Carrot Top surprised me when I saw Carrot Top, and he was more shredded than I thought he would ever be. And it surprised me when I learned that Michael K. here was this good of a dancer. Have any of your friends surprised you with how well they dance? Because Kugler surprised us the other day. But have you guys ever been surprised? Like if Darren Ravel all of a sudden or David Sampson were just killer dancers, wouldn't that surprise you? If they were really good dancers.
I know we're talking Kugler, but I've often gotten this. People are sometimes surprised by how I can move.
You're a rhythmic dancer?
Yeah, I can do my thing.
You're jealous of Kugler?
I'm just saying, I would have thought I would have been mentioned first, but we can say Kugler. He's a good
I
dancer,
imagine
too.
you as Kevin James in Hitch, where someone really has to tell you to just kind of keep it in a real specific box.
I do the
because
Michael
your limbs are flying everywhere.
I do the
as you
Michael
dance.
Jackson kick a little too often, but
You do
Oh,
do it
do
a
you?
lot. Yeah, he does it a lot.
Well, let's see it right here.
No,
Get-
see.
he's
I'd
done
really
it.
like
You guys
to see
offended
it.
me. Let's
He
watch
does it
Cougs
well.
dance. Cougs, why don't you come in here and dance?
He's done it on Mystery
He's
Crate,
done
I
it well.
believe. It's
Yeah,
very
No, it's
good.
fine. Let's have Cougs dance.
No,
You guys
he did it before a Panthers game. That's how he does do it. It's a nervous
Panther
tick.
dance, that's right.
He has a nervous tick that when he throws out the hee-hee,
It's a crowd pleaser.
It's a winner.
Like, I know what a winner is. I have a
It
winner.
is.
Oh, wow. Cougs, really good dancer. I mean, geez, what are we doing here?
I can't believe we saluted this
I
as
mean,
good
geez,
dancing
oh, man, what
around
the
here.
Okay,
rhythm.
but look at the person.
The rhythm
Look at the
just
way he
oozing.
physically
Asinine.
looks, and then
Wait,
his
hold on.
dance.
I've actually seen Cougs a video of him dancing at a wedding, and he actually can dance.
I was about to
really
say,
well.
because this looks like Greg Cody when we sent him out to the dancer tryouts. He was dancing like that. You remember?
This is foreshadowing, and it's just.
I'm in for a dance off.
Oh, wait, what's going on with my man in the beard in the back
Yeah,
here?
we've already analyzed that. You and Kugler. That's why
I
you
mean,
can't
not
come
today.
in and out
We're
of
gonna
here the
build
way
up.
you do. It's
We're gonna-
it's why you should be here when we're talking.
We're going to build up to it. I'm not doing it today. I need to prepare, but I'll have a dance off.
What do you
with him.
need to do to prepare for a dance off?
Look in the mirror, see what I'm working with. No, I need to know what song we're gonna do it to. I'm not just doing this willy nilly.
I don't think dance-offs are choreographed. I think that you just go out there and you kind of like react to the music. If you have like a choreographed dance-off, you're cheating. Like, it's not a routine, it's a dance-off.
I disagree.
I like the elevator format too. I think you guys should do the
In an
dance off
elevator.
in an elevator. I like
Who
the
can do the Michael
confined
K?
space.
The same elevator or different elevators going up the same
It's a
time?
K-off.
It reminds me of Portia in Arrested Development doing the dance during the protest inside the cage.
I need like some things to hold on to though.
Girl.
It's very important here in this. Michael K wouldn't be doing this if he didn't have these nice bars to hang on to. Some elevators don't have the bars.
Our elevators have bars.
Okay.
Our elevators have
We
bars.
need to do this.
But I do have a question, Dan. Who held the elevator door open for him? Because that elevator door is open
No, if you
unnaturally
look,
long.
the door is to his right. Like you can see the sign on the side of the door. Like this is the side of the elevator.
Oh,
that the camera's at.
they're in the elevator with him.
I just had
I think
no
he
idea.
put it on the floor.
No
I
idea.
think he
that,
put his phone down, tilted up. You can see the door is to the left.
Yes,
here.
that is a closed elevator. Again, it's something that Amin's giving us that's not helpful because he came in during the middle of the segment and has been behind since we started.
Did you guys describe the video?
Yes,
No, you
we've
didn't.
been talking about it nonstop. You were away. You didn't hear us.
I was here.
You did what?
When you said, you ever see your friends and say, I didn't know they could dance like that. My friend
No,
Michael
but
K could dance.
Guys, you need a detente. Let's you guys, both of you, take a deep breath.
Look, you've got John Sterling holding this door open when clearly on the right side there's an elevator door open.
It's in the corner. How am I supposed to see it?
Paul O'Neill holding over the door for Michael K.
John Sterling, 86.
Look, yeah.
Oh, why are they putting Mike Fuentes up there? This is not how we're making editorial decisions.
Listen,
but look
wait
at
a
that
minute.
guy.
Wait a minute. No, listen to me.
not good
Listen
dancing.
to me. Listen to me right now. The video team making this decision without any supervision, all of you to the penalty box. All of you.
Wow.
You're
All of
every
you.
one of you. You're not allowed to just put Fuentes making a fool of himself
What's
out
happening
there.
there?
Lewis twerking on the wall.
I want that room empty.
No, like
That means we're going to be stuck on whatever shot we're
I don't
stuck on.
care. I don't care. We will keep it the same. I will not have those people making decisions for.
Major penalty, 5 minutes. Swooning comedy.
Wait, all right, take us, then go. Take us, then go. No, they're just leaving it on the
Tumbo finger.
I don't care. Like, you can't put Fuentes on. And
Why is Izzy pacing?
He was shaking that thing.
Because Izzy's doing the meeting that I jumped out of to do this goddamn
Thank you for
show.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amin.
Yeah, how about that?
a heroic
gratitude.
gesture. A real heroic gesture by Amin.
This would never happen in Hollywood.
Chris Cote, I need to get to something that I promised earlier in the show, and I am ashamed that I have not done it until now. You had a great idea for a popular new show that I believe can be something that Metalark funds and sponsors and makes lots of money, which is just playing clips and asking you, is this patriotic or is it annoying?
I would love to play that game with you, but I'm going to need the video team back because they're going to have to cut
You
to
kick them
something.
out,
And
yeah.
A
That's
real
a really good point.
catch-22, Dano.
Yeah, it is, but I don't need them. I can move to any number of other topics. I'll spin that wheel again. Don't make me. I'll spin that wheel with those football topics on it all over again. No, I don't want you guys back in there. No, I don't need you back in there.
Look, it's like an encore. They just
No,
walked back in
no,
like the
no,
encore's
no,
happening.
no,
Like, all
I
right,
don't
we're
need
back,
them.
guys. Here we are.
I don't need them. They need to be punished. There need to be consequences for. I don't have many rules around here. Here's one of them. Once we've gotten to Fuentes twerking, no. Just no. Like just that.
There it is again.
Get it out of here.
How is that able to
It's
happen?
not even good.
If they're not in the room, how is that able to happen?
Dan, have you been watching the TV show Paradise? There's a point where one of the characters puts it on a loop and then leaves, and they can't figure out. They got to reboot the whole system to stop. Anyone watch Paradise? No?
I think of that video where courtesing Jerron, who used to work for us, like years ago. Like we put a courtesy on it, it's just Jerron's Instagram.
Also, the question was person that you
I miss him.
expected to be bad at dancing that was better than you expected. So since I thought Fuentes would be really bad at dancing, I think this actually is a good example. He's
pretty good for a 40-year-old.
So Fuentes is somebody you thought would be bad at dancing. Has anyone else around here been surprised? Just really, there have to be some good stories there from people just being really taken aback because you're all of a sudden at a wedding and you look over to your right and you're like, holy, I didn't know Carl Ravitch had those moves. I didn't.
Oh,
Ravi.
Ravi can cut a rug.
Pablo Torre at his wedding.
You think Pablo's a good dancer?
Well,
Yeah,
that video
that would shock me.
The
Pablo
only
being a
the
good
only
dancer.
thing I saw was that one video, and I was impressed. I didn't think Pablo had it, but then I remembered Pablo's Filipino, so technically he's an embarrassment about
All
that.
right, let's play patriotic or annoying. All right, we're going to play a video here. Imagine you're on a plane All right, you're having a nice long flight, and all of a sudden, somebody walks to the front of the thing, grabs the little microphone that the flight attendants talk
Intercom.
on, and I was just relax. And he sings, and this is what you hear. Is this patriotic or annoying?
And I won't forget the man who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
All right, let's go around the room. I mean, is that patriotic or annoying?
Why you started with me?
I would be annoyed. If I'm on that flight and all of a sudden people are singing, I'm like, no thanks.
Oh, is Chris Cote anti-American?
Yeah, put it on the poll, Dan.
I'll be anti-American. If that's I don't want that on my flight.
I mean, we can all agree. That sucks, right?
I'm good in the terminal. Maybe the terminal before the flight. In security. Let's get a song going in security.
Oh, do we know each other? Do we know each other?
Me and you?
No, the people on this flight, on this hypothetical flight.
Do all 192 people on this flight know each other?
Yes.
I doubt it.
Then no.
Where was that coming from or going to? Because they all seemed like in on it
Yeah,
for
they
some
were
reason.
together.
Like this seemed like not a themed flight, but like they were all kind of like aligned on.
Well, but
is it January 6th?
But no, wait a minute. This is a MAGA anthem. Lee Greenwood, like this. John Oliver did a whole big special on.
I won't let that
On
be
how it was
done.
written for Canada?
That's an American song.
Was it?
But it's not.
He literally wrote "Proud to be a Canadian."
It's
the same exact words except for
I'm
Canada.
proud to be a Canadian.
Yeah, that's right.
Where at least
I
I
have
know.
health care. Isn't that the words?
When we were
Poutine.
leaving New Orleans, I have never experienced a fun airport like they were having when we were leaving New Orleans. Like the people at security were dancing because they had like a band set up that was playing like in like the central patio area. Dude, they were having so much fun, like while we were going through, like to the point that I'm fine for you to like check my bag again. Like, as I noticed you're like doing a little dip when we were checking something. Like, we can go through this one more time. Like, I got plenty of time here. A lot of fun was being had at that airport. I kind of liked it. People like doing their jobs.
I feel like the airport's not the fun place to be right now. Although you just flew this morning. I mean, I feel like a new horror story every minute.
What's this new like trend that people are putting on the internet where they're like, I can get through airport security into my gate in 10 minutes at every airport ever? And it's like, I've never experienced this at any airport ever. How do you guys keep getting from like the door of your car to your gate in 7 minutes?
Because they're cutting out the waiting time.
Well, I know, but why are they like, why are
2
they
minute video.
Why
How
are
do you
they
do that?
lying about this?
Because, Billy, it's the internet. This is where we are, Web 3.0.
Clout.
Yep, it doesn't matter. It
Well,
does not,
but
none of it matters.
people are flying vastly more scared, though. You're getting a lot of videos of people getting onto airplanes like in a prayerful state because of the amount of terror involved with, hey, what is that happening on a Delta runway in Canada? Why is the plane upside down and on fire?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, don't use the word terror because when it comes to planes, that has a very specific connotation. I know what you meant, like as in terrifying, but terror, planes not so much. Right. Number two, we're actually behind pace from last year in terms of accidents up until this point. So,
big win.
Yeah, we're actually doing better.
Okay, progress.
The internet would not tell you that.
Is this the Streisand effect, I mean?
Yes. And
fear is the way that one spreads, and it would be totally understandable if you feel like there's some instability in structures, government and otherwise, given a number of things that are happening.
I feel like the crash in D.C. where all the people died, even if it counts as one crash, actually should count as more because that hasn't happened in the U.S. for like decades.
Yeah, like people, like two aircrafts crashing into each other.
And several dozen people
Fatalities,
dying.
So you're just saying when you say that we're having a down year, that's just like regular crashes that don't involve
It's
collision?
late February, and he's talking. He's playing semantics with lives in a way that was foolish.
Streisand 82.
Semantics with lives? I would never.
You are playing with numbers there. It's not fictitious to say that after the government stripped down the FAA, a plane and a helicopter collided in the sky over Washington, and there were a whole bunch of people dying. What are you doing?
A helicopter.
Like a lobster in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that was like what would like
That's a
the claws.
That would be a great thing to fight against Godzilla or King Kong in these
Helicopter.
movies.
Whoa.
Yes, right? I wanted to play.
we don't want to minimize the tragedy though.
No, thank you, Billy. I do appreciate it. I spit a word incorrectly, and then all of a sudden the tragedy is minimized. That's something that happens around here.
Welcome to the show.
That's correct. I want to play some video here of Chris Eubank Jr. smashing an egg off of Connor Ben because the fight press conference has gotten to a place now where the fighters are bringing eggs out in their hands to promote a fight and then hitting the opponent in the face with an egg, which is a good left hand. Like, you can't let that happen. You can't.
If you blink, you miss the egg.
You can't know that the egg is not there. And, I mean, he is understandably angry. Look at that. He wants to fight. Those people, that's 7 people holding him back because of the insult of, that guy just hit me in the face with an egg, which is more insulting than anything else he could have hit me in the face with.
Now, I am a foolish, ignorant man. Why were there eggs?
So that we would talk about the clip.
That's right. So that an egg would smash on somebody's face.
Because if there was no egg, we wouldn't be talking about this fight
Waste
whatsoever.
of eggs, though.
The question is,
100%.
did he have the egg in his little jacket pocket, or was it like just holding it maybe and his hands behind his back? Like, man,
that
I
egg
can't-
cost like $2.
Yeah.
$2. Where?
I
Show
don't,
me.
I don't like that the fight was called Fatal Fury because I feel like it's not going to deliver.
I mean, there's an egg, though.
But, I mean, two men are entering. 2 men are exiting.
Probably
not
won't-
Fatal Fury.
Unlikely to be fatal is correct. Unlikely. But if a man were beaten to death, you would really regret that commentary.
Oh, I mean, I look. I hope it doesn't happen.
That's correct.
And I know I'm saying that through a smile. I hope that
That's
neither
right.
one of them perish.
But
in
you're
this
predicting
fight.
that this. You're saying this is false advertising. It can't. It's very unlikely statistically to be a Fury that's fatal.
Probably unlikely. I will say though, if it wasn't called Fatal Fury and there wasn't an egg, we definitely wouldn't be talking about it. But also, I probably will never think about this fight again.
It won't be fatal, but it will be excellent.
What if it is fatal, but there's no Fury?
Excellent. Get it, Dan?
There's already Fury. I mean, he just got hit in the face with an egg.
Yeah, but what if the fight happens and there's actually no Fury, but then someone dies?
Okay, well, that would be regrettable.
Like a heart attack the day before or something? That'd be terrible.
It'd be fatal.
It would be pretty amazing, though, if your commentary on this would be, this can't be embarrassing to me, and we remember it forever because it was the day you said no one would die, and someone did. I can't believe the volume on the fight in the eating area over people arguing, outraged about where they were ranked in the top 100 guests to appear on the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody. People were screaming at each other. Izzy was bragging. Greg Cody is sending word through his son, do not reveal any of the rankings. They're embargoed. No one will know where anyone is ranked until Monday. But Izzy was happy about his ranking, and I'm like, that's not that good a ranking. I don't know what you're so happy about there.
I think it's a great ranking considering where I am.
Let's
on this
give
list.
nothing away. Thank you, Jeremy.
I just can't believe the disrespect of the Greg Cody Show with Greg Cody to do this to me, a member of the Hee Haw 3.
I don't know where I am in the ranking. I just want it to be known that I think the rankings happened before Greg learned that I am a thespian.
Okay, very good.
Memes and Nightmares on Hulu
yes,
right now.
You're right, Dan. It is tearing everyone apart. You're correct. I don't know where I am either, but it's out of 100. So I think anything above 50 is pretty good.
That
You're in the
sucks
top
for
half.
Jeremy.
Oh, he's sub 50.
I'm sub 50.
You can't give
I
too
know that's a
much away.
spoiler
You
alert,
can't-
Greg.
you can't
but
do that.
Greg,
You
if
can't
you're
do
going to
that.
rank me below
You can't do
50
that.
when everyone else in this room might not be there.
He's asked for some.
Ridiculous.
He's asked for some respect, please. I am certain that Juju Gotti has gotten a very high ranking there because his was an intimate and personal account. And I before we get to Juju, though, Amin has had a stat of the day all show that we haven't gotten to. So if you can get me the stat of the day music, please, I'd appreciate it.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
Thought it was going to be the long version. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Dan, are 46-11, but those 11 losses have come largely by 9 points or less. They only have 2 losses of 10 points or more. That is tied for number 1 all time with the Chicago Bulls of 96. Only 2 losses by double digits.
So dominant and in every game. Always scary. Could be undefeated under certain circumstances.
Yes, pretty much.
Before we get to Juju Gotti, I am told, and I need to take that listener's advice from Flanagan's and make it less Taylor. But Taylor says he sent over some Michael Doliak songs. So go ahead. Michael Doliak, for some reason, has been someone we've serenaded for many years, former Utah center, former Miami Heat center. He came on the show with us and was very polite about things, but then refused to keep coming on with us because we had too many Doliak songs.
Michael Doliak, and don't you come back and no, Michael Doliak, and don't you come back and no, I would do anything for love, but I won't Doliak. Oh no, said I won't Doliak.
Why do we let Taylor make any decisions
Where's
around
the best
here?
one?
I don't have a take. I have a Michael Doliak song. Doliak, Doliak, sets a scream, then he rolls. Doliak, Doliak, pops a J from the elbow. He averaged 4.9 points per game. Michael Doliak. Race with French was better anyways.
I'm sorry I made you wait, Juju. I'm sorry I did
When you
any
got
of
it, you
that.
got it. That guy's got
That's
it.
just offensive to me, what's happened with
I
our...
love it.
Okay.
I love it. I was one of the people called in back in the day for the Michael Doliak submissions. Who could forget? Michael to the Doliak.
Yeah.
Get me a group of them and just we'll close out the post-game show by just playing an assortment of Doliak songs. Can you give me your thoughts on the Nico conversation we're having? You're somebody who's always extending compassion to others, and I was voicing, I feel bad for this guy, and people are just laughing at him.
You called him a slapdick.
I know I did.
I feel like in a world full of ziggers, I'm the Zag daddy, baby. You feel me? Because I see it the exact opposite way. I see that Nico will come out smelling like roses at the end of this. We saw the game last night, and I don't think he was oogling or ogling Luka in the beginning of the game. I think he was brave enough, number one, to take his ass out there and sit mid-court when a lot of GMs would have crept in the skybox and been unseen and unheard of. He sat up right there at the half-court line and looked at Luka like, look at Luka, fat ass over there. That's what I think he was thinking. He wasn't oogling. And Luka, besides that first quarter, Luka was out there and fadeaway, air ball, the air ball behind the back to Jack Nicholson. Like, bruh, he didn't have the good game I think he had. And the Mavericks pushed them boys to the brink last night. LeBron had to be LeBron. Fourth quarter, 12, 14 points. When they was missing AD, they was missing Gafford, they missing Lively, and a slew of people who not to be named, you feel me? I think the Mavericks are going to come out of this on top at the end of the season. I am now a Dallas Mavericks fan because of this. Everybody hate Nico. I salute Nico. I see what you saw, Nico. Yeah, you can catch a angle here and there. I know, that doesn't look good.
Can we point out that this is a Photoshop?
Yeah, that doesn't look real.
It's completely
It's
Photoshop.
AI.
That everyone's passed it along as, oh, this is a great shot that happened. I'm like, no, it didn't.
Can you play for me the sound of Doliak, us asking Doliak if he would come on the show again tomorrow? Michael, thank you. We'll do it again with you tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, he didn't really want to do it again with us. I haven't heard a lot of people with that take, Juju. We talked about Taurasi at the beginning of the show, but not very much after that. Did you have any thoughts on, really, I mean, if we were to do rankings, this is one of the first names that you're going to say when you say best basketball player ever, right?
Right.
Juju, at least WNBA era, because I think it's harder when you start talking about Cheryl Miller and Nancy Lieberman and Ann Myers. But if we go WNBA level, who's the go to the WNBA?
I mean, number one, Cynthia Cooper. You feel me? I can't never take away Coop and Cheryl Swoops and the girls, Tina Thompson. They won 4 in a row. That was amazing back in the day. But Diana Taurasi, dog, she been doing it for so long. And like you said earlier, whatever Kobe mentality that we give him credit for, she got that times 10. I was sitting courtside at the game in Atlanta. I had a Ryan Howard jersey on. She walked up on me and said, "You should be wearing my jersey." In a row full of gangsters, I'm like, what is happening? Like, she is so confident, and she's the last of a dying breed, dog. Salute to play the reveille for the baggy-ass shorts. Like, the last person ever to wear the baggy-ass shorts. Salute to Adam Sandler. It's going out, bro. Salute. She is one of the GOATs for sure.
What would you do if I took it to the hoop? Would you stand up and try to block me? Play some defense and I'll back it out. I will try to hit it from the top of the key. Oh, only I could spy with a little help from Rafe LaFrance.
Yes! Rafe LaFrance is key there.
Oh, that was good.
I told you the key was...
That was amazing.
Rafe LaFrance.
That was incredible.
That was amazing. I think we should also put more respect on the fact that Hulu legend Amin Hassan is sitting up there next to us, dog. Like, that show is going through the hood right now. It's getting bootlegged on DVDs, memes and nightmares. Sorry, $2 for me. But I think that, bro, we got to put respect on Amin's name because he was not only in that, he was in that. You feel me? Like, every couple minutes you heard from Amin. And speaking of Hulu, just if you can hear the sound of my voice, watch Paradise on Hulu. There's very rarely an episode of television that has you on pins and needles the entire episode. This week's episode of Paradise, bro, I couldn't breathe the entire episode. It was like 50 minutes. Please go watch Paradise. You dig it?
Juju, I made a Paradise reference earlier in the show. Nobody got it. I felt so alone, man.
I heard it was not a good show, but it had a really great episode.
What?
Is that not true?
Yeah.
Not true.
Okay.
It's an amazing show. The premise is out of this world. But the show itself, the storytelling and the acting, Sterling K. Brown. Emmy next year.
Yes, sir. And just like my boy Jeremy Taché, salute to my boy, he got a couple of those at this point. But yeah, dog, I think he should be in the consideration, dog, because, you know, opinions are like belly buttons. We all got one. Greg Cody has one. You dig it? It's you got to watch it yourself, you feel me? Also from the chat today, happy birthday to Anastasia Williams. She's one of our most loyal listeners. Salute to sis. Also, happy birthday, David Sampson. And salute to Becca Boo and Becca Boo Jr. My sister Becca Boo was wrongfully accused of car theft. She shared that story in the chat today, and we all had her back. Also, Wayne W., RX Damo, Jimmy Gibson, Brad Streets, Ray Gun Charles. Oh, my goodness. Salute to the whole chat. They always keep the show alive, and I respect all of you guys. You dig it.
Return of Doliak. You know that he's not whack. It's Michael Doliak, and he's taking it to the rack. Return of Doliak. I think he played with Shaq. That's Michael Doliak, and he never smokes the crack.
Never.
That's not that. I mean, never smokes the crack.
That's not true.
That's just cheap. That's not good.
He does smoke the crack?
Were you surprised that Michael K was such a good dancer, Juju?
Brother, I think I don't know the fine system, how it works, but I'm willing to bet a lot of my money that is not Michael K dancing in that video. I think you have it wrong there. We might need to get Pablo Torre to find out, but I'm pretty confident that is not Michael K, sir.
Juju, that's
$12.
a fine. That's a fine for you, Juju. I was fooling around. Of course, that's not Michael K.
Oh,
No, that's a fine for you, Dan. That is Michael K.
How did I get fined? I don't understand how I got fined for that.
It looks like he's dancing to
My neck, my back, my Michael Doliak.
Yep.
I'm still surprised that they got the camera in the elevator like that.
What polls are we updating here before we get out of here, Juju?
Yes, sir. Before the polls, the take of the day, though, Amin Hassan. Your name is Ralph Fiennes, sir. You're not Rafe Fiennes. I don't know who you've been talking to. Just like Christian Brown from the Nuggets. Brother, your name is Braun.
Yep.
Neither here nor there. First poll. 1 second, let me get to it.
Ralph.
Okay. Can you ever go wrong with the Honda Accord from yesterday's post-game show? 81% of the audience says no, you can never go wrong with a Honda Accord.
81%? Well, that should be 91% at the least.
I'm surprised, though, that any car of that status in terms of cost is that universally favorable. I didn't know that there was such a thing as a car that was, not one of the high-end.
I didn't know that there was a single entity at all that could be that favorable, let alone a singular car from any type of brand.
Dude, the Honda Accord is you can't beat it. It never died. It's like, Jessica, you bought yours in what, 94?
It's 1,000 years old.
Yeah,
Still kicking.
Is the Honda Accord Cal Ripken Jr.? 87% of the audience says yes. You dig it, compiler.
It's a little bit of a compiler. It is a compiler. Like it's
And
not
a big
gonna.
trunk.
It's not gonna hit and a big trunk like Cal Ripken Jr.
And the whole video team got sent to the dang penalty box. We like to put some respect on the video team name. Salute to Lewis. Salute to Michael Fuentes. Salute to Gino Fuentes. Salute to Jason, Kirsten, Grace.
No, that's enough, Juju. No more shout-outs for everybody, Juju. No more
Kristen been doing a phenomenal job with the Unrivaled League. We got to put respect on Kirsten's name. I mean, you feel me? Salute to Kirsten.
I'm with you on all those names, but Michael Fuentes, why does he get a shout-out?
Because that boy twerked in front of 100,000 bananas, so you dig it?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Jessica, what are you laughing about? What are you covering your face laughing at back there, Jessica? What are you snorting with?
Taylor.
Please tell me you guys just saw that.
Taylor just came in to tell us he sent us something, and he hit his head on the door. Like, as he's opening the door, he just smacked his head.
Passing the ball to Michael Dolly.
Juju, see you later.
Yes, sir.
It's the height of winter, but it's also a great time to gather with friends and enjoy some Miller Lite. That's right. Miller Lite has the taste you know you can depend on. No games, no gimmicks, just that beautiful white can and a great tasting beer for people like you and me who love the taste of beer. Because Miller Lite is brewed for taste. It hits different than other light beers with simple ingredients like malted barley for rich, balanced toffee note flavors and that iconic golden color that we all know and love. And here's the most important part for me. I mean, I like all the things, but 96 calories and just 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces, Miller Time is always a good time. The original light beer since 1975 and still the very best one. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.